Welcome back to Warzone Workshop. Today we're going to be talking about this gun that I picked up. It was in a pile of airsoft guns that was dropped off, and I've already done a video showing all the guns that were dropped off at my studio. This thing came in, and as you can see, the paint's all pitted and gross. It's grimy and disgusting, and its magazine has like some rust going on with it. And this is a newer magazine. Apparently the one that came with the gun was lost, and then the fellow that owned it picked up this magazine, and it just sat and sat and sat and didn't get any maintenance, and it would go outside and it would go pew 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 in the rain and stuff, and then it would come in and sit, it would get cleaned. So we're going to take this gun and we're going to take it apart and we're going to clean it and do some basic maintenance for it. Add a tiny bit of lubricant. I think that's all it's going to take to get this gun, which now that I've been racking the slide back and forth quite a bit over the past few days, I haven't taken it apart yet. I've just been racking the slide, and at first, when I first got it, and you can see in the video here, it still does. It gets all gummed up. It locks up, and especially when shooting it, it'll misfeed. It'll jam constantly. Unlike my WeTech SIG P226 or F229, P229, the copyright. The names are weird, but my F229 SEAL Team 6 WeTech pistol, this gun, buttery smooth. Decocker works just fine. Trigger's just fine. The lockback's good. If you look into it, you can actually see some lubricant in there. Buttery smooth. The magazine is in good shape. There's lubricant on the valve. Ooh, it's good. In fact, the 3 magazines that I have sitting here, which are all KJ Works magazines, fit in the WeTech gun, and they all perform just fine. The WeTech one actually, I believe, performs a little bit better. They're all pretty close. But fantastic gun. If you're going to get an airsoft pistol, I would highly recommend a WeTech SIG. They are full metal, built really well, and the performance is pretty good, just saying. Now, this is a KJ Works P226, and it says 226 on it, P226, not F229, which is what this one says. But this is the full-size or duty pistol version, and as you can see, it's far from buttery smooth. There's lots of gunk buildup, and every now and then it hangs up, which it shouldn't do. Now, as far as the decocker, it's working fine. Mechanically, it's sound. It's just gummed up and disgusting. So we're going to go ahead and pop it apart. To do so, first I'm going to pop apart my my WeTech one and take a look at what a nice, well-lubricated SIG should look like. We're going to, of course, eject our magazine. I don't keep gas in the magazines when they're in the studio. I don't keep batteries in the guns when they're in the studio for my own sanity. Since I like to do that a lot, and you got to be responsible about it. So I don't keep them gassed. I gas them, take them outside, and then I release any gas that's left over before bringing mags inside. Also, you don't keep rounds in them. That's a no-no, because there could always be a round left in the chamber, and if you put an empty mag, a mag with no BBs in it, but it has gas in it, into that gun, and you chamber said gun, it will put whatever round is in that chamber out with the gas that's now in the magazine. So you gotta be careful. Just because you have no BBs at the top of that magazine does not mean that there is no one in there. So careful. It does carry around in the chamber. You can totally fill this magazine, have it cocked back, fire the one that's in it, and then have more rounds. You can top off your gun. It's definitely something you can do in airsoft. But however, that round that's in there, if there is one, will not fire by itself because it needs to be propelled by the gas from this magazine, which there is none, so safe. Now, to disassemble, we're going to go ahead and take our slide onto the back here, but not all the way. We don't really need to go all the way. Take this lever. We're just going to rotate this lever down, like so, and then release the slide, and it comes off. It's honestly, it's simpler than a Glock, but I still like Glocks. Now we got our upper and lower disassembled, and I'm sure you can already tell there is lubricant on those rails. Oh yeah, there is lube on that thing. Nice lubricant. course, you gotta make sure you don't have any dirt or dust or hair on top of your surface that you're working with. And inside the gun, we got lubricant. It's got smeared lubricant all up in there, all up in its guts. Lube all up inside that. And that's why it works really well. To clean it, you would rub all that lubricant out with some nice clean rags or a shirt that you don't care about, or some paper towel or something like that. You clean it all out and then reapply lubricant. But this is fine, so I'm just going to go ahead and put this slide back on, put it down here to that, rotate it back up, and we are good. There you go. So that one is what it should look like. Let's take a look inside this one. Magazine dropped out. So I take the slide down to the rear, but not all the way, and then we'll twist and slide will come off. And ooh, look. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna compare the two. Look at how dry and grimy this slide is compared to the frame. Okay, so the WeTech, you can see the shininess. It's all greased up, ready for some slip and slide action with that slide. And now the KJ works. You see how it looks like just a matte finish. It's not really as glossy. That's bone dry. That thing hasn't seen lube in years. That thing is oh man, yikes. And any lube that is there is now just dry and hardened gunk in the rails. I'm sure there is just dry gunk inside it. And I'm sure when I wipe this thing with a rag, it will be disgusting. It would be disgusting if I wiped this one, but there'd be little bits of pure white lubricant all over that rag, which is because the lube isn't completely dirty yet, which is why I'm not going to do anything with it. And now if we look at the upper slide here, you can see it's working because there's no dirt and mud inside it, but it's not shining, it's not super duper glossy. It's just whatever in the valve there is from me putting gas through the gun. That little bit of shininess is from gas going through the magazine, testing it. This is a well lubricated slide. This is a bone dry slide, and that's why when it gets a tiny little bit of gunk up in it or a little bit of metal filing, it just gunks up the whole thing and it just doesn't move because the rest of it is super dry. This one moves because it's like, you know what, a little bit of gunk's not going to hurt us, we're just going to keep on keeping on, and that's what it does. So if you want it to be buttery smooth, you got to put a little bit of lubricant in it. Bottom line, that's just how it works. So let's go ahead and disassemble this a little further. I'll go ahead and take out our barrel by taking out this guide rod, which is of course bone dry, and it shouldn't be. There should be a little bit of lubricant on that. Then we'll go ahead and take out our barrel, outer and inner. Take out our inner barrel. Man, look how dry this is. It's just dry and dirty. There's just dust and dirt. It's coming off on my fingers. That is why this thing is getting stuck, because there's no lubricant. It's just dirt. Got the barrel out. So this is the hop-up unit and inner barrel. It's a stock inner barrel, of course. And really, with handguns, is if it's a backup for an outdoor game, there's really not a whole lot of reason to change your inner barrel and do a whole lot of extra stuff to it if it's just going to be a backup gun to your primary. Put the money into your primary first, then your secondary. That's how it works. So before you go modifying your pistol and pimping it out, go ahead and work on your primary first. So this is all dry and disgusting. We'll clean all that in a moment. And this is the frame, and it is dry and disgusting. Now, of course, there's nothing mechanically wrong with it, so I'm not going to be taking the guts from the slide from the frame and doing anything with them. If that's what you're watching this video for, then I'm terribly sorry. If it ever breaks, I'll be doing a video on it, but it's not today because it is working. It's just not working really well. I would suggest you clean your gun and then try it again and see if that fixed it. If it did, comment down below. Let me know that it was dirty, and then you fixed it by cleaning it. And of course, the slide it's got all the paint's pitted and gross, and that's all well and fine because it adds texture to it and makes it kind of look battle worn, that's fine. We can leave it like that on the outside, or you could take the paint, strip it off with some aggressiveness, and repaint this thing by taking all the parts off of it, and then doing whatever paint you want to put on it, and just take it and put on some metal applied paint that'll go on nicely to the metal, and do it that way. But I'm going to leave it that way. I'm just going to clean it, and after we clean it, then we're going to shoot it. Alright, so test firing before cleaning. Chambered. Got my chrono. Gonna go ahead and pop around through it. .285 FPS. .285.6 malfunction. Chambered. 284. 272 malfunction. Chambered. 277. 276 malfunction. Chambered. It's just gummed up and disgusting and not firing properly. Now, someone would say that this is a malfunctioning, broken gun. And I would say, no, it's just dirty! Couldn't get through the magazine. Wasted too much gas with misfiring. Now, this is a gassed up magazine from my WeTech SIG. Let's go ahead and try this buttery smooth SIG. Once again, I got my chronograph right here. I'm going to go ahead and pop around through it. 258, 247, 239, 236, 232, 228. It's like the 230s, but it's a handgun. It's a gas pistol. That's totally fine. And as a smaller magazine, smaller gas capacity. Empty magazine. Let's just do a few more for fun. Try it. And we are out of gas. Magazine is now ice cold. Alright, so now I'm just going to wipe it out with a cloth. Go ahead and fully disassemble it. Disassembled. Now I'm just going to wipe it down, starting with spring. Just an old t-shirt that I don't need. It's clean though, so. Already seeing some dirt. Now the guide rod. Getting some dirt build up. Already getting some discoloring on the shirt. Now the barrel. Start with the pop-up unit and inner barrel. Just wiping it off of any dirt and debris. Not really any lubricant because that all dried up years ago. This gun probably hasn't been used in 3-4 years, maybe even 5 years. So, getting some discoloration there, right in here. It's turning black. Now the outer barrel. Oh yeah, that's filthy. That is filthy AF. Discoloration, all this. Would have used a white shirt for the camera's sake, but I didn't have a white shirt that I was going to get rid of. Now the slide. There is no lubricant in here at all. Just dirt. Just dirt and mud. No, not even mud. It's so dry in here. It's just dirt. Just getting all this crap out of it. Look at all that. Clean your guns. If everybody did this, the amount of guns being posted on eBay and other third-party, secondary markets would probably dwindle to nothing. The only thing left would be broken guns, like actually broken guns. If everybody could just learn to clean their guns. Look at that; it's getting all shiny again because I'm taking all this layer of dirt. I'm just taking this layer of dirt off, and now it's like giving it brand new life. This gun was used for some youth group airsoft activities. Good buddy of mine used this one. I think he's planning on getting a new one, but if I can get this one running really well, he'll probably just keep using it. Now, I'm going to take and do some test shooting now that I've cleaned it. I couldn't get 2 shots to go through it reliably with all the dirt that was in there. Now that I've cleaned the slide, I'm going to go ahead and clean off the lower. Clean off all the parts. I'm not even disassembling it for this. I'm just wiping them down. Just wiping them down. Really, I would only disassemble this gun further if I was going to upgrade it or fix it. If it's functioning mechanically, there's no need to disassemble it any further, unless you just really want to. I would suggest not doing that. Just cleaning it like this should be all the preventative maintenance you should need to keep the gun running nice and long. Look at that. It looks so much different. So different. Just getting all that dirt off. And now look at this shirt. Look at that shirt. Look at this side where it's all nice and blue. And then look at that side where it's got line after line of just black gunk. Oh my gosh. Night and day. It's like green too. There's like mold shit in it. Alright, so now I'm going to reassemble it dry. Dry but with no dirt. And we're going to see if that's... Oh, just putting this in and out. Look at that. Before it was really difficult to pull that out. Now it's not that bad. Go ahead and put this back in here. Put the guide rod in. The part that was really sticking was this top slide, and I think that there's still some work that can be done with this. There's like some weird residue on it. It looks like it might have taken a few BB strikes, possibly while it was in the holster on the on the hip. It looks like it took a BB strike to the metal, and it looks like that actually deformed the metal somehow. Man, someone was shooting some hot FPS. And now I'm going to put the slide back on. Oh my goodness. Not buttery smooth, but way, way better. Get some lubricant on this and really break it in. Now that it's not got all that mud on it, I bet it won't malfunction. Let's go ahead and take some shots. Alright, so now let's chrono it. Got my Ace Tech chronograph right here, and 285, 279, 277, 277. And more importantly, fired all those rounds without jamming. No lubricant, just took the dirt out, and now it's functioning properly. Let's see if we can dump a few more rounds out. I'm not expecting it to be very gas efficient because, once again, there's no lubricant in there to help the slide move without expending a lot of energy. So I'm not expecting it to fire through all the rounds in the magazine, but if it does, that's a plus. Definitely not. But it did actually put out all the rounds. It says there's still gas in it, though. That lubricant is important. So the takeaway today is, yes, it will function even when it's dirty, somewhat. Yes, it'll function when it's clean but not lubricated, somewhat. But if you want that gun to fire really, really well, you need to lubricate it. Now, next would be getting rid of that orange tip, but only do it if it's allowed where you live. It's allowed where I live, so no orange tips. Oh, except for that MP5 back there. I gotta take that off still. But hey, I hope this has been informative, and like I said, just take it apart, lubricate it, and you'll have a gun that fires really well, like this one. If you don't, it'll end up being like this, but worse, because it'll get dirt in it and grime. The stuff that normally happens to a gun that's well lubricated is you get dirt and grime in it, and it starts getting gummed up. It turns into like a mud slurry type stuff. But then you just clean it, add more lubricant to it, and it runs really, really, really well until it gets dirty again, and then you clean it again. It all comes back to just cleaning it. Clean your guns. I'll see you next time in the war zone.